Yo, this is the Old Heads. I'm King Bear Sadat. We're back here again to bring you some knowledge about whatever it is we're talking about today, keeping the conversation flowing. I'm here with Mac Attack. We're here chilling here in the city of Buffalo, city of brotherly love. We got the Buffalo Bills.
Yes, we do.
Trying to make some moves here in the future. There's a lot of things going on with the Bills, but the latest thing is Richie Incognito and lost his mind. He went down and I'm trying to be funny about it because mental health issues are serious, and
Yeah,
I'm not trying to joke, but just Richie Incognito's been through a lot. Whether it's been or been through a lot, caused a lot. Whether it's been the stuff that went on in Miami where he was accused of bullying, and then the thing that's really crazy is I'm such a big Bills fan. If you join our team, I'm very forgiving. If you can get us some wins. And he played really well on the offensive line, and then he decided he was going to retire, and then he went down and had some problems recently down in Florida where the Bills actually ultimately gave him his all-out release. I don't know if you know much about what happened down there, or if you heard much about that.
I heard not much. I didn't hear much about it, but I heard he took a little trip. Mentally.
Yeah, he threw a tennis ball at somebody, then he threw a dumbbell at somebody.
Wow.
But yeah, man, I'm sorry to hear that the brother's going through it. Then one of my friends tweeted out, Zay Jones who had the problem in LA where he was on something or something was going wrong,
right.
But like how my friend who's actually a white guy was making fun and tweeting something as a Bills fan. He goes, so Zay Jones does whatever, he's probably on drugs and that degenerate, something's wrong with him, but Richie Incognito, that's mental health issue, so we need to worry about him, but not that Zay Jones' issue was a mental health and the double standard on race and things of that nature.
That's not right.
Of course it's not.
That's not right.
But we're going to get into talk about the Bills a little bit. Before we go into the Bills and some of the good stories, one of the stories that just came out this week was the NFL decided that they are going to make it mandatory for players to stand or the team be fined, and if not, you can decide to not stand for the national anthem and decide to instead go, stay in the locker room or something of that nature. Just wondering your thoughts on the NBA, not the NBA, the NFL's policing of the national anthem, and or ignoring the fact that it's even about that what it's really about. They're sort of worried about whether or not it's disrespecting the flag or not, instead of getting to the crux of the issue, which is ultimately the lives of black folks.
Right.
Just wondering what your thoughts are.
Well, the players, if they want to stand, they can stand. If they want to stay in their locker room, they can do that. My feelings on this matter is this: that police brutality is a terrible issue, and it needs to be corrected. And in order for that to happen, we have to put some light on other things to make it shine, like the NFL. That's a good thing when they sat down and to me that's a good thing that they get the understanding for that.
Well, I think that the players are trying to get people to notice that brutality is happening, because the reality is, it's they talk about like, okay, so other races came to this country. And I hate the word race, but other ethnicities came to this country, and they all went through hell. Whether it was when the Jewish people got here, whether it was the Italians, whether it was the Irish. But the reality is now all those folks, it's not even separate. They're just white people now, and it's black folks. And the reality is that whether you're Irish, Jewish, even gay or whatever it is, you can hide those facts. Well, that's not something that's overt. But our skin is a scarlet letter in and of itself. And the reality is they don't know, that, what's his name, Fernando Castillo. They don't know that Fernando Castillo was a community activist, that he was helping kids, buying lunches. He's just some black dude, and they murdered him, on the camera. But the reality is that we're just all threats. It doesn't matter, if, you're a church-going man. It doesn't matter if you got a family. It doesn't matter. Hell, it don't matter if you're a cop, I remember just talking about my cousin Theodore Kirkland, and again, I hate to use the N-word, but I'm about to tell a story, and it's in his book. Matter of fact, his book is Spirit and Soul, The Odyssey of a Black Man, Volume 1 and 2. You can actually get that book now on Amazon, but it's a great book. But there's one part where he starts talking about how he had to integrate the police cars. I know we're going to talk about the bills. We still have more time to talk about the conversation than flow a little bit. I just want to talk about something I think is really important, the police brutality and how we're perceived in this country. But people of color are perceived in this country. Not even just people of color, black folks specifically, but also, other people of other nationalities and heritage go through their own hell and their own situations.
I'm sure they do.
But Theodore was talking about how he was in the police car and he had a white partner. And some white lady said to him something about, what's up with that nigger in that car? And the white police officer said to the woman, ma'am, you will treat this man with respect. He is not to be called something like he's an officer of the law, yada, yada. He shut the woman down. But then said to Thad, you're not a nigger because you're a cop. Like, what? Like, it's crazy, man, how, the one thing that we, it's like baseball. They say you can't argue balls and strikes. Well, shit, that's the only thing worth arguing about.
Right.
If we can't talk about race and talk about how we treat one another, that's messed up. I actually got into a big, and again, I don't mean to take the conversation, but there's so many things going on with this. But I'll get back to it because I can go on and on. But we just got to care about each other, man. Like, the reality is that, as not to be anything other than matter of fact, we're all pink on the inside. You know what I'm saying? So whether your skin color is just illusion, it's just melanin.
We have a race issue here in this.
And we're not dealing with it. We're not dealing with it. Like, we don't talk about the fact that, like, I'm going to be looked at a certain way based on my skin color. Hell, when I was in New York, I used to, so you'd heard about the whole thing with the taxis, how you can't really get a taxi.
Right.
Well, I used to be slick with it. I would go to, this is when the World Trade Center was still there. That was a crazy day. I was in New York that day, but I used to take the train, come out and go to the Millennium Hotel and see the cats outside, the sky caps, or what you call them, the guys who open the doors, the doormen. And I would go to a brother and be like, look, man, here's a couple bucks. Can you just hail a taxi for me? Just because I'm trying to sit all day.
That's
let
pretty
him
good.
Just drive by me, a
that's
little bit of
good.
intellect, I think. But
Do you think that's because of race? Because they'll pick the white guy up before they'll pick the black guy up?
Yeah, specifically, yes, that is definitely, whether it be because they feel like they might get stiffed on a tab or some sort of racist thinking that we're not going to pay our bills, or one other things would be in case they was afraid they had to go to Brooklyn. See, they want to stay in Manhattan, so if so that way you drop a fare off, you got another fare right there. But the reality is, once you get in a taxi, they got to take you wherever you say to go.
Exactly.
That's the law. But if you go to Brooklyn, now you're in Brooklyn, you might not get anybody a fare in Brooklyn. You got to drive all the way back to Manhattan to get a fare. So there was some real stuff in it, but it still was a law or whatever. But back to NFL and the Buffalo Bills. I know we was all over the place. And then, let me go back to the players and this. Yeah, because we're gonna go hand on the Bills, the good news. But back to the players and the protests. It really annoys me that people hijack the discussion to think that the players are protesting the flag. They weren't protesting the flag. As a matter of fact, Colin Kaepernick was told by a special forces dude that instead of sitting for the anthem, kneeling would be more respectful because you're showing reverence. And they turned it into the whole thing where it's, the whole narrative, they're disrespecting the flag. Meanwhile, our whole family was in the military. You know what I'm saying? We got a bunch of uncles and even aunts that when my grandmother was in the army.
Exactly.
So just to say that we disrespect the country. I mean, look, America done put us through hell, and yet we still care about America because we're all Americans. Like, this is where we grew up, so it matters to us.
Right. Is it okay for the police to pull you over and kick your butt? What about that? But yet they're talking about a flag that we're not really even talking about. Right. This is police brutality, period.
We're talking about being safe. We're talking about knowing that, if you send your kid to college, one of these players, let's say they have some children, they send their college kids away, that they're not going to get murdered by some sociopath. And again, some police officers are good, obviously. Maybe most police officers are good. I don't know the statistics on that. But if there are some that's bad and they have a weapon and they can kill you, that's a serious issue. And it really strikes me as very interesting that the subject matter, that they've hijacked the conversation and they've gotten away from the fact that we are talking about people who look like us and that they are possibly going to be put in situations where their lives are going to be threatened. I didn't really realize how much of a hero that Kaepernick was really ultimately. I mean, he gave up his career to stand up for black folks.
Right.
You know,
Right.
that man is to be respected. Somebody once said to me, you know, Colin Kaepernick ain't gonna go in the Hall of Fame, but he gonna go in the Smithsonian. You know what I'm
Well,
saying?
that's good.
Word, you know. But again, this is King Bear Sadat, and I'm here with Mac Attack. We are with Old Heads. Thanks for listening. We got one more segment. We'll be back in a minute. Peace and love.
Boy, you switched gears real good.
Man, I didn't mean to do that.
We got